Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtapraye Shvamatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhagavati Nashtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Chapter 6, The Glories of Sri Advaitacharya, text 98 onwards. Ekamatra Anshi Krishna Ansha Avatar, Anshi Deki Jeshta Kanishta Achar. Lord Krishna is the source of all incarnations and all others are his parts or partial incarnations. We find that the whole and the part behave as superior and inferior. So they behave as superior because even the parts or partial incarnations, they want to serve Krishna. Jeshta bhave anshite hai prabhu gyan, kanishta bhave apanate bhakta abhiman. The source of all incarnations has the emotions of a superior when he considered himself the master, and he has the emotions of an inferior when he considers himself a devotee. A fraction of a particular thing is called a part, and that from which the fraction is distinguished is called the whole. Therefore, the fraction or part is included within the whole. The Lord is a whole and the devotee is a part or fractional part. That is a relationship between the Lord and the devotee. There are also gradations of devotees who are calculated as greater or lesser. When a devotee is great, he is called Prabhu, and when he is lesser, he is called a Bhakta or a devotee. The supreme whole is Krishna. Baldev and all Vishnu incarnations are his fractions. Lord Krishna is therefore conscious of his superior positions, and all Vishnu incarnations are conscious of their positions as devotees. And this is amazing relationship between Krishna and his own incarnation. They are all Vishnu Tattva, equal in power. Brahma Samhita says one lamp lighting the other lamps. But all Vishnu conscious incarnations are conscious of their positions as devotees. Only we don't have that consciousness. That's the problem. Krishnera samata haite bada bhakta pada, atma haite Krishnera bhakta hai premaspada. The position of being a devotee is higher than that of equality with Lord Krishna. For the devotees are dearer to Lord Krishna than his own self. So this is another aspect, another wonderful thing in the relationship. Position of being a devotee is higher than that of equality with Lord Krishna. The conception of oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is inferior to that of eternal service to the Lord, because Lord Krishna is more affectionate to devotees than to his personal self. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord clearly says, Sadhu hirdem mayam sadhuna hirdem tvaham. Mad anya tena jananti naham tebhyam managati. The devotees are my heart, and I am the heart of my devotees. My devotees do not know anyone but me. Similarly, I do not know anyone but my devotees. This is the intimate relationship between the Lord and his devotees. Atma haite Krishna bhakte bada kari mani, ihate bahut shastra vachana pramani. Lord Krishna considers his devotees greater than himself. In this connection, the scriptures provide an abundance of evidence. Na tatha me priyatama atma yonir na shankara, na cha sankarshano na sharir, nevatma cha yatha. O Uddhav, neither Brahma, nor Shankar, nor Sankarshan, nor Lakshmi, nor even my own self is as dear to me as you. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna in his ecstasy, he said, even I am not dear to myself as you are. Krishna samya nahe tar, madhurya swada, bhakta bhave kare tar, madhurya charvan. The sweetness of Lord Krishna is not to be tasted by those who consider themselves equal to Krishna. It is to be tasted only through the sentiment of servitude. So sweetness of Lord Krishna is not to be tasted by those who consider themselves equal to Krishna. So only his devotees or servants can taste that sweetness. Shastrera Siddhanta Vigyera Anubhav Muda Loka Nahi Jane Bhavera Vibhav. This conclusion of the revealed scriptures is also the realization of experienced devotees. Fools and rascals, however, cannot understand the opulences of devotional emotions. This is what Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says, Muda Loka Nahi Jane. So fools and rascals. Prabhupada uses heavy words, but this is what the words are used by the original authors. So when a person is liberated in the Sarupya form of liberation, having a spiritual form exactly like Vishnu, it's not possible for him to relish the relationship of Krishna's personal associates in their exchanges of mellows. The devotees of Krishna, however, in the loving relationships with Krishna, sometimes forget their own identities. Sometimes they think themselves one with Krishna and yet relish a still greater transcendental mellow in that way. People in general, because of their foolishness only, try to become masters of everything, forgetting the transcendental mellows of servitorship to the Lord. When a person is actually advanced in spiritual understanding, however, he can accept the transcendental servitorship of the Lord without hesitation. So when somebody is actually advanced, he can become the servant of Krishna. So people in general, Prabhupada said, because of their foolishness only try to become masters of everything. And in the world, in the whole universe, everybody is trying to be the controller, the master, proprietor of everything, or anything they can get their hands on. People are fighting to become masters. And that is why there is no competition when somebody wants to be a servant. Nobody wants to be a servant, or not too many people. And those who want to be servant, actually those who want to be servant, there is no fight, there is no enviousness, because I'm a servant of everybody, servant of Krishna, Krishna's devotees, everybody. So where is the question of enviousness or fight? But fight is when somebody wants to be the master. In politics, everybody wants to be the leader. And that's why there are so much of fights. Elections is also a fight. I want that position, chief minister position or some ministerial position. Why? Because it comes with lots of money, power, followers, so much of fame, so much is involved. But if somebody wants to be a servant, does he have to apply anywhere? No, I can serve anybody, anytime, anywhere. But to be servant of Krishna, that's a very high position actually. But nobody wants that, or not too many people want. Bhakta Bhav Angikari Balarama Lakshmi Advaita Nityananda Shesha Sankarsh Krishnera Madhurya Rasam Rita Karepan Sei Sukhe Matta Kichu Nahi Jane. Baladev, Lakshman, Advaitacharya, Lord Nityananda, Lord Shesh, and Lord Sankarshan taste the nectarian mellows of the transcendental bliss of Lord Krishna by recognizing themselves as being his devotees and servants. They're all mad with that happiness and they know nothing else. But people will say, oh, because you don't know the taste of being a CEO of a company or being a prime minister of a country, president of a country. That's why you're talking about this servantship. No. If Lord Balram, Lakshman, Advaitacharya, Lord, look at their position. They want to serve Krishna because they find the happiness that they find there, they don't find anywhere else. But and in servant, it doesn't only mean getting the title Das or Dasi, then we become servant. It's the attitude of service. Attitude, humble attitude of service. That was makes us servant. And there is plenty of service. There's one temple I have in Baltimore, and I've been there a few times. There's a proper disciple there. Amazing, amazing person, amazing devotee. And whenever you go there, he's always doing some service. We were taking prasadam at the Sunday feast, and he was taking care of the garbage can. Garbage can was full, so he picked up the trash bag, put in the new trash bag, and he threw away that garbage trash bag somewhere, or kept it somewhere properly. And this is what his mood was. He said, all I see is service. That's all I see. Everywhere I look, I see service. That's a mood of a devotee. But if we are not serving Krishna, definitely we are serving Maya. We have to serve. We cannot run away from it. So we will be serving Maya. Either we'll be sitting and gossiping or just talking. Vachavedam is forget about Vachavedam. And or doing something else if we are not serving Krishna. So better we have this attitude, this mood of service, and try to look for service and do it. Anyera achukarya apane Shri Krishna, apana madhurya pane, kailasa satrishna. What to speak of others? Even Lord Krishna himself becomes thirsty to taste his own sweetness. So madhurya swadite kare na jatan, bhakta bhava vinu nahe taha aswadan. He tries to taste his own sweetness, but he cannot do so without accepting the emotions of a devotee. That's where he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One reason, he could not taste his own sweetness because the emotions or mood of a devotee has to be there. Lord Shri Krishna wanted to relish the transcendental mellow of a devotee, and therefore he accepted the role of a devotee by appearing as Shri Krishna Chaitanya. And who is the topmost devotee of Krishna? Obviously, Srimati Radharani. So that's why he had to accept her mood to taste his sweetness, her love, and to understand the bliss she gets by tasting his love and his sweetness. Bhakta bhava angikare haila avatirna Shri Krishna Chaitanya Rupe sarva bhave purana. Therefore, Lord Krishna accepted the position of a devotee and descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya, who is complete in every respect. Nana Bhakta Bhave Kar and so Madhurya Pan, Purve Kare Yachi Siddhanta Vyakhyan. He tastes his own sweetness through the various emotions of a devotee. I have formally explained this conclusion. Lord Chaitanya, who is known as Shri Gaurahari, is complete in relishing all the different mellows, namely neutrality, servitorship, fraternity, parental affection, and conjugal love. By accepting the ecstasy of different grades of devotees, he is complete in relishing all the mellows of these relationships. So in one way, I hope I'm not making a wrong assumption here, in one way, even Krishna is not full. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is complete. See the mood here? Although they both are same, but Mahaprabhu is complete and Krishna is not. Because he is relishing all the mellows of these relationships. Avatar Ganera Bhakta Bhave Adhikar, Bhakta Bhava Haite Atik Sukha Nahi. All the incarnations are entitled to the emotions of devotees. There is no higher bliss than this. All the different incarnations of Lord Vishnu have the right to play the roles of servitors of Lord Krishna by descending as devotees. When an incarnation gives up the understanding of his godhood and plays a part of a servitor, he enjoys a greater taste of transcendental mellows than when he plays a part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this bliss one can get only by understanding the mood of it, by descending as devotees. Just like I'm thinking of Gaur Govind Maharaj. He had given amazing lectures, his realizations, his devotion. It's completely mind-boggling. So one lecture he gave, and the devotees gave the title as the greed of the Lord. The Lord also gets greedy because he was explaining, Lord has a greed, that's why we have the greed. We have it in a perverted form, but nevertheless, we get it because source is Lord. So he was explaining that before Lord Nrsimhadev, there was not a real relationship. Like Varahadev came and he just killed the Hiranyaksha. There's no, he had some exchange with Mother Earth, but that's about it. So Lord Nrsimhadev, when he came, he killed Hiranyakashipu, and Prahlad Maharaj was standing there. He was not afraid of it, Lord Nrsimhadev. Everybody else, all the demigods, they were afraid of Nrsimhadev. He was so angry. But Prahlad Maharaj was not afraid. And that's why it said, no, Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam. Tavakara Kamalavare. He put his hand, Nrsimhadev put his hand on the head of Prahlad Maharaj and blessed him. Same hands, he just picked Hiranyakashipu apart, and same hand, palms of that hand, he just put on Prahlad Maharaj's head and blessed him. But he wanted to taste the sweetness or relationship or the bliss that Prahlad Maharaj was tasting by looking at Nrsimhadev. Nrsimhadev was not in that mood to taste that sweetness. So that's why, or from then on, he always accepted parents whenever he came, because he wanted to taste the mood of son with the parent or son with mother. But Prahlad Maharaj was tasting at that time, Nrsimhadev was tasting. Okay. Then he came as Lord Ram. He had wonderful reciprocations with Maharaj Dashrath, Mother Kaushalya. And then he had his younger brothers, wonderful relationship there, and wife, Sita Devi. So he was in the palace, and then he had to go to the forest for Vanvas, 14 years of Vanvas. And last year of Vanvas, when Sita ji got kidnapped by Ram. It's all pastimes of the Lord, because without the sanctioning of Lord Ram, Ravan couldn't have kidnapped Sita. But the reason was because they've been together for 13 years, they wanted to taste the sweetness of separation. So Sita ji was kidnapped. And then obviously more pastimes, taking the help of monkeys and making allies with Sugriv, and so fighting. Fighting also, he wanted to taste the fight. And that was the prime reason Jay and Vijay came down as Ravan and Kumbhakarna. Before that, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So he was tasting the fight. He was tasting the relationship with Sugriv as a friendly relationship, and with the monkeys, army, and Hanumanji was serving Lakshman. But the taste of the sweetness of separation, and that separation makes a love even deeper. He wanted to taste that. So he tasted that. And then Gaur Govind Maharaj says, and that is why when Sita and Ram, they came back to Ayodhya, they both tasted the increase of their love when they were in separation. So they wanted to taste this more. And that was the inner reason of Ram banishing Sita to the forest, on the pretext of their dhobi making some allegations. Those allegations, it was their inner heart. They moved. They wanted to take both Ram and Sita also. Sita ji also. The love between Sita and Ram increased tremendously when they were in separation. And when this pastime ended, then Ram and Sita, they both said, now when we come again as Krishna and Radharani, obviously, original is Krishna Radharani, but when the next pastime, we will taste this separation to the fullest extent. So for 100 years, they were in separation in Krishna Lila, because it was so blissful. It increases, it really increases the love. So in Krishna Lila, he tasted parental relationship, Nanda Baba, Yashoda Maya, friends, gopis, killing of demons. But the special mood was to taste the separation from Srimati Radharani and the gopis, especially Radharani. And now this taste was so wonderful, but now they wanted to taste separation and union at the same time. This is even higher. And then, as we studied about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was always in separation, in the mood of separation, taking the mood of Radharani, separation from Krishna, and tasting that love. He had never done it before. In one person, both the personalities and the moods and tasting. And then we will read later in the Antya Lila what happens to Prabhu when he really gets into ecstasy of tasting that sweetness of love. He could not control himself. It's, how can you explain this to anybody who's not a devotee and who has no inclination of devotion service towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Even Krishna devotees, Lakshmi Narayan devotees, they cannot understand this. Because Lakshmi and Narayan, they're never separated. They're always together. For some pastime it might have happened, but that's about it. How do you explain this? Cannot. And this is what Mahaprabhu came to give us. Mahaprabhu's followers described it more, elaborated on it more in their books. Prabhupada did not go in too much detail. He has touched it, here and there. We did not go into too much detail, knowing that we are not qualified. And when we are qualified, when we are eligible, Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada will make the arrangements for us to understand. You don't have to worry about it. So this is one thing that Gaur Govind Maharaj explained very nicely. I'll try to post his lecture because I'm just paraphrasing him. If you hear the original or listen, read the original thing, it's beautiful. Mool Bhakta Avatar Shri Sankarshan Bhakta Avatar Tahi Advaita Ganan. The original Bhakta Avatar is Sankarshan. Shri Advaita is counted among such incarnations. Although Shri Advaita Prabhu belongs to the Vishnu category, he displays servitorship to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as one of his associates. When Lord Vishnu appears as a servitor, he is called an incarnation of a devotee of Lord Krishna. Shri Sankarshan, who is an incarnation of Vishnu in the spiritual sky, known as the greater Vaikuntha, is the chief of the quadruple incarnations and is the original incarnation of a devotee. Lord Mahavishnu, who is lying on the causal ocean, is a manifestation of Sankarshan, who is the original personality of God, who glances over the material and efficient causes of the cosmic manifestation. Advaita Prabhu is accepted as an incarnation of Mahavishnu. All the plenary manifestations of Sankarshan are indirect expansions of Lord Krishna. That consideration also makes Advaita Prabhu an eternal servitor of Gaura Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, he is accepted as a devotee incarnation. So, just different categories, but he's an incarnation in the mood of a devotee. Advaita Acharya Gosai Mahima Yaharahum Tare Kela Chaitanya Avatar. The glories of Shri Advaita Acharya are boundless, for his sincere vibrations brought about Lord Chaitanya's descent upon this earth. Sankirtana Pracharya Sava Jagat Tarina Advaita Prasade Loka Prema Dhana Pai. He liberated the universe by preaching Sankirtan. Thus, the people of the world received the treasure of love of Godhead through the mercy of Shri Advaita. So, Sankirtan, especially him and Nityanand Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, they would be chanting and dancing, distributing love of Godhead. Advaita Mahimananta Kepare Kahite, Sei Likhi Jai Shuni Mahajan Haite. Who can describe the unlimited glories of Advaita Acharya? I write here as much as I have known from great authorities. Acharya Charane Mora Koti Namaskar, Ithe Kichu Aparadana Labe Aman. I offer my obeisances 10 million times to the lotus feet of Shri Advaita Acharya. Please do not take offense at this. Tomara Mahima Koti Samudra Agam, Tahara Iyata Kahi Bada Param. Your glories are as fathomless as millions of oceans and seas. Speaking of its measure is a great offense. Jaya 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 Shri Advaita Acharya, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Arya. All glories to Shri Advaita Acharya. All glories to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the superior Lord Nityananda. Dui shloke kahila Advaita tattva nirupan pancha tattvera vichara kichu shunna bhaktagam. Thus in 2 verses I have described the truth concerning Advaita Acharya. Now, O devotees, please hear about the 5 truths or Panch Tattva. So this Panch Tattva that we pray to every day before chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we pray to Panch Tattva. Why Panch Tattva? Of course, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami will describe more about Panch Tattva. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not worshipped alone. Panch Tattva has its own potency. We'll study about that. And that's why in every temple, Gaudiya Vaishnava temples or ISKCON temples, if not Murti, there is always picture of Panch Tattva, the altar. Not only Gaur Nitai, it's a picture of Panch Tattva. It's very, very important to understand why. And Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami actually. Shri Rupa Raghunath Padde Jara Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishnadas. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring the mercy, I Krishnadas narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in the footsteps. So thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose to Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, 6th chapter, describing the glories of Shri Advaita. I guess I can stop here, because it's, it's so sweet to study all this, to discuss all this, but there is a limit to the sweetness. So we'll stop here and we'll take up the next chapter tomorrow. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.